Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rania, and today is the day where we talk about feminism, a history. Let's start with an introduction. الفeminism أو النسوية هي مجموعة من الحركات الاجتماعية أو السياسية اللي جات مع الهدف إنها تحقق المساواة بين الجنسين. اليوم باش نحكي لكم كيفاش جاي الفeminism وكيفاش طلع وكيفاش ولا the feminism that we know today. It goes without saying اللي المرأة as long as she existed المرأة كانت تحب تعطي صوتها في المجتمع، كانت تحب تسمع صوتها في المجتمع، وفما برشا كتاب وإلا مفكرين نساء from all over history that have asked for their rights and they've talked about women's problems وكانوا يحبوا يوصلوا صوت المرأة للمجتمع. قبل ما نبدأ جست نحب نوضح اللي الفيمينيزم as a movement راهو جاي على في شكل waves، يعني كانت فما حركات وإلا موجات متاع عباد mainly women asking for their rights وتفهموا على الايديولوجيز متاعهم وتفهموا على شنو يحبوا. هذيك كانت المطالب متاعهم في كل مرة وفي كل مرحلة. نبدأ مع الموجة الأولانية أو the first wave اللي هي of course يعني مفماش دات specific وقتاش بدات، يعني historians they argue about this all the time. But for me, I've always considered that the first wave was ignited in the Seneca Falls Convention in New York. وقت اللي a bunch of women in New York they gathered around and they started talking about their problems and they started to talk about what needed to be done. في أواخر القرن 19 women, especially women in Europe and in America, they looked around them and they thought, hey, we're human too. We are people who exist in this society. Shouldn't we get a say in how it goes? And that was a huge revelation. The first wave كانت wave صعيبة على الآخر وطويلة، بقات أكثر من 50 سنة ونساء تحكي وتعارك على حقوقها وتحب توصل صوتها. ما in my opinion ماهوش باش يصير حتى تغيير لين 1920. في 1920 باش نبداو نشوفوا فما تغيير وباش نشوفوا فما more or less their demands بدات تتلبى. What did the first wave feminists ask for? من المطالب اللي طلبوا بها نساء هذوما متاع the first wave كانت حقك انك تصوت، حقك انك تقرأ، حقك انك تخدم، حقك انك تكون عندك ممتلكات، يعني to own property. الحاجات هذوما احنا توا نشوفهم as basic granted things، اما هذوما these were things that had to be asked for less than well exactly 100 years ago, and that's not that much time if we really think about it. 100 سنة قبل المرأة ما كانتش عندها الحق باش تمشي تقرأ، تخدم، تصوت، to own property، تكون عندها دار. But thanks to these feminist women, now I can go to work and I can study, I can do whatever I want. Basically, I can raise my voice and I can speak my mind. I have the right to exist as equal to men. من أهم الكتب اللي خرجوا في first wave feminist movements كانوا A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf. في A Room of One's Own Virginia Woolf تحكي كيفاش يلزمها تكون عندها الاسباس متاعها، يلزم عندها تكون a room of one's own basically باش تنجم to exist, a room of one's own to express herself. She needs space in society and she needs to be given this space. She needs to be granted this space because she deserves it and it's her right. أنا كي نخمم في الكتاب هذايا in 2020 today, it is amazing to me how much things that I take for granted that Virginia Woolf had to ask for in this book and had to state and had to clarify. It's just amazing how much progress we've done, and I just honestly, Virginia Woolf, she's amazing. You should read her. The first wave was a wave طلبت basic human rights for women. And then came the second wave. الموجة الثانية متاع الفيمينيزم started around 1940 وجات تحت شعار The personal is political. النساء اللي قاموا بالموجة الثانية متاع الفيمينيزم كانوا نساء قارين مثقفين، كانوا نساء يخدموا، دونك مطالبهم كانت majorly economic and more or less political. So naturally they talked about equal pay, they raised awareness about sexual harassment in the workplace. ومن الحاجات اللي حكيوا عليهم كانت women's rights to have birth control and contraceptives in general, and most importantly domestic violence and rape. These are two topics that are very important in the second wave movement because it's just radical to women's liberation and freedom to establish that she does not get to be beaten at the house, and if she is raped she is the victim and she is not to be blamed for it. من أهم الكتب اللي خرجوا في الموجة الثانية هو The Second Sex لسيمون دو بوفوار اللي هو خرج عام 1949 و The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan خرج عام 1963. الكتب هذوما and especially The Feminine Mystique اللي تباعوا منه 3 million copies in 3 years, they talked about how women are not happy as housewives. And by that time, the educated housewives that they were told that their place in society is to be wives, they were the ones reading this book. And for the first time in their lives, they were thinking, I am not the only one who thinks this, and something needs to be done about it. نساء هذوما اللي تقراو وتعلموا فهموا اللي بلاصتهم ماهيش في الدار، اللي هما عندهم الحق باش يخرجوا يخدموا، عندهم الحق باش to build society basically, and عندهم الحق to be angry because they have been violated and their rights have been violated for so long. I mean, you cannot educate someone and then expect them to just stay at the house doing nothing about it, and education has a price, and when people are educated they are going to ask for more and they're going to understand their rights and their duties, and you're just gonna have to give it to them. الموجة الثانية متاع الفيمينيزم كانت مهمة ياسر على خاطرها عطات للمرأة political power and economic freedom. But there was a problem. كما قلت لكم most الwomen اللي قراوا الكتب متاع ال second wave feminists كانوا middle class white educated women. الموجة الثالثة متاع الفيمينيزم جات around 1980, and while the second movement was only about white women, white educated women, let's say that, of middle class, الموجة الثالثة included most of the women in the Western Hemisphere, in my opinion. Race became an issue, donc black women now for the first time had the right to speak up and they were considered as equal. Lesbians had a lot to say in the third waves. They came out and we heard their voices. من أهم الكتب اللي خرجوا في the third wave هي Gender Trouble by Judith Butler and The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf. While a lot of people might argue that the third wave is where feminism might have gone a little bit radical, I would argue that the third wave is so important in the female empowerment march because it was first and foremost about young people and about teenage girls. Teenage girls, for the first time in history, they started to embrace makeup again. They started to embrace their femininity again. They started to wear high heels. They started to be feminine and feminists at the same time. وقت اللي the first and the second wave just rejected everything that was women and they tried to repress it. And I think that the third wave did a great job in making us understand that feminine and feminist are not opposites. انك تكون امرأة وانك تكون تحب على حقوق المرأة، انك تكون a beautiful woman and smart at the same time was a revelation, and that was what the third wave established in my opinion. Okay, السؤال يطرح نفسه، فما 3 waves of feminism. There's everything. You have equal pay rights, you have your vote right, you have the right to own property, you can go work and be miserable now, you have the right to be beautiful. شنو باش يصير توا؟ It's important to acknowledge that yes, women have made a huge leap towards their empowerment, and yes, of course, what we have today is something that is completely mind-blowing compared to what people, or let's say women, had 100 years ago, but I think that there's a little bit more that we can do to really establish equality. في بداية القرن 21 طلعت the fourth wave. The way I look at it, the fourth wave of feminists is try to establish the one thing that the third wave tried to claim and they didn't really know how to do because they didn't have the power to do it. علاش the fourth wave is so important? The fourth wave is important على خاطر for the first time in the history of human beings, we are all connected with the internet and we can raise our voices together and الصوت متاعنا ينجم يوصل للبلايص الكل متاع العالم. The fourth wave is a wave تحكي برشا على sex positivity, على body positivity, على transgender issues. Basically, the fourth wave is a wave that includes every single woman on the planet and it includes everybody. من أهم الكتب اللي تكتبوا في الويف هذوما is of course the amazing We Should All Be Feminists by تشيماماندا إنجوزي إديتشي. In my opinion الكتاب هذايا بالحق it's خلاصة الفورث ويف، يحكي على علاش احنا فما حاجات يلزمنا نعملهم و there's still a little bit to go. There's a lot that we can do actually to really establish feminism and to establish the equality between men and women. Now that we have established the history of feminism نحب نحكي specifically على تونس. المرأة التونسية هي مرأة عندها الحقوق متاعها، مرأة متعلمة، مرأة مثقفة، مرأة it's revolutionary في العالم العربي. I truly respect and understand that. المرأة التونسية مشكلتها الأساسية ماهيش في الدستور وفي القوانين، على خاطر القانون يعطيها برشا حقوق وحريات. But the problem is, does she actually have them? القانون ينجم يعطيك الحريات اللي تحبهم الكل، ما الحرية الكبيرة تجي من المجتمع التونسي هو مجتمع بالحق ظلم المرأة برشا and there's a long way to go before we establish anything near equality. Because I talk about this a lot in my life, I know that a lot of people argue that feminism is not necessary anymore and that feminism is debunked and women have their rights and they should just have enough and call it a day and rest. But trust me, that is not the case. I am a Tunisian woman, and trust me when I say that I talk from experience, that there's a lot of things that are abhorrent that happen every day that just shock the hell out of me. وقت اللي أنا نخرج نخدم لابسة كبوت وكشكول وبوني and I get catcalled ونسمع واحد متعدية يسمع فيه في كلام اللي it unnerves me. وقت اللي انا ما نجمش نخرج من الدار بلاش ما نحط كيت، على خاطر it's unacceptable اللي انا باش نسمع الحاجات هذوما because I'm actually scared to hear them, then وقتها فما مشكلة. وقت اللي المرأة التونسية تروح من الخدمة طيب العشاء ورجلها يدز الصحن ومن با يعاونها في الكوجينة فما مشكلة. وقت اللي الرجل التونسي يعاون مرته بالسرقة وما يحكيهاش لبرا من الدار then there's a problem. وقت اللي المرأة التونسية تضرب وكي تروح لدارها يقولوا لها اللي هو رجلك ضربك على خاطر يحبك then there's a problem. And trust me, I've seen this firsthand with people that I know very well. وقت اللي المرأة التونسية تغتصب ويسألوها علاش مخرجها في الليل then there's a problem. وقت اللي هي تغتصب ويسألوا شنو كانت لابسة there's a problem. وقت اللي تلامذة البنات في الليسي يلبسوا المنادل والولاد they can get away with it يعني فما مشكلة. المشكلة ما هيش مشكلة منديلة ولا هي شنو لابسة، المشكلة أن هي الميساج اللي تعطيه للتلميذة أن هي بدنك عورة، بدنك حاجة لازمك تخبيها تحت منديلة تحت حاجة واسعة، بدنك is something that can arouse your male friends and students. It's a wrong message to send to girls, to teenagers, and it unnerves me to no end, and of course we need to do something about it. المشاكل هذوما الكل combined they are a huge problem in society. There's a lot that we can do and there's a lot that we can do to change society. نعرف اللي برشا عباد they think اللي صعيب باش نوصلوا للحاجة هذية وإحنا توانسة و this defeatist mentality it just pisses me off، على خاطر كان the first wave feminists كانوا defeatist وخموا اللي ما ينجموش يصلحوا المجتمع رانا إحنا ما نوصلوش للي وصلنا له اليوم and that's just wrong. Of course we can do change مش باش يصير ما بين ليلة ونهار. Change comes slow and change comes بالواحد. What can we do as individuals? In my opinion, as individuals in this Tunisian society ولا in this society in general, what we can do is that we can start with ourselves. بدل من روحك، اخزر روحك شنو تعمل وشوف الحاجات اللي تعمل فيها غلطة، كانك امرأة ولا راجل، كانك بنية ولا وليد، شوف روحك واش تعمل وحاول صلح من روحك وصلح في immediate environment. احكي مع أصحابك, raise awareness about these problems. These are problems that need to be fixed. احكي مع أمك, احكي مع أختك. Slowly, trust me, change can happen, and as we've seen in history, change did happen and it will happen again. And that's my piece on feminism. What I wanted to do with this video is that I wanted to clarify what feminism stands for. الخاطر I'm so angry about how many people get it wrong and how many people misunderstand it. Here's feminism. هاك عرفتوا انتم توا شو معناها feminism, عرفتوا تاريخ الفeminism. I hope it helped you in any way, and please I urge you to use this information wisely and share it with as many people as you want, because if we ever wanted to improve in society then we need all hands on deck, and those hands include the women. I personally am very optimistic and hopeful about the future. I think that change is possible and it is imminent, so all we need to do is raise our voices and take our share in moving this wheel forwards. And with that, I will end this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. سلام.